Welcome guys, it's Andy here. So today we're talking about a crazy little detachment that I've been using with Sisters of Battle. Now this thing has some awesome tricks. What if I could tell you could do a 21-inch charge with Celestine in your opponent's turn? Now that is utter filth, isn't it? So listen up and I'll show you what it's all about. Welcome guys, it's Andy here from D6 Evolution, and today we're talking all about the Sisters of Battle. So anyone who's new to the channel, we're all about 40k tactics here. So I was at the Glasshammer GT in Telford last weekend, absolutely epic event, so big shout out to the Glasshammer guys. They really came through on that event, it was amazing. Now, round 4 I played a really interesting chap called Eric and his Dark Eldar, and he absolutely smashed me, so thanks for that, Eric. But seriously guys, it was an awesome game. I now know that Custodians don't really do well against Talos. So he suggested that I do more videos about some of the units you don't see so often in the game. So with that in mind, I've been running this detachment of Sisters of Battle here, which consists of Celestine, her 2 girls, a unit of Seraphim with Inferno pistols, which are awesome guys, they're basically melters, and 3 Dialogus, and these are the star of the show. And you're probably asking, what the hell is a Dialogus? Well, I'll tell you what a Dialogus is. It's the most dirt cheap character you can come across, but they are what makes this detachment awesome. So, anyone who's new to Sisters of Battle, they are crazy broken units. So, they get 1 Act of Faith for free, and Celestine gives them a 2nd Act of Faith, and it has to be her or someone within 6 inches of her uses her Act of Faith. So an Act of Faith, at the start of my turn, before the movement phase, I can move a unit, shoot a unit, or assault with a unit. So really strong things. And it's moved like the movement phase, so it gets over that silly fly rule. So with the Seraphim here, these girls here, they can move an extra 12 inches, or they can shoot their pistols again at the start of the round. And why is that so broken is because, well, these guys, even when they're locked in combat, they deliver 4 melter pistols to the face at the start of the turn. So it's absolutely bonkers. Then they can move and then they can shoot again. So this little unit here is brilliant. They also re-roll their invulnerable saves, this little unit Seraphim here. So they have a 5-up invulnerable save when they're next to Selly, and they re-roll it. So they have a 5-up rollable save. Celestine, now you guys know her, you love her, she's bonkers. So she comes back on a 2+ once a game when you kill her. And she can come back more times than that, actually. Most people don't really know that. Again, with the Act of Faith, you can heal a unit, or you can regain a lost model in a unit. So if you accidentally leave these girls alive, the Seraphim here, the 2nd time she dies, well, they can just resurrect Celestine again. So, guys, if you're playing against this, never leave the Gemini alive after Celestine's died for the 2nd time. Now, let's talk about the star of the show up here, the Dialogus. Now, you must be wondering why on earth I'm bringing Dialogus. So they're 15 points each. They're characters, so they can hide on objectives. They can just be a general pain in the arse. They have a 6-up invulnerable save and a 6-up armor save. And they have a close combat weapon which hits on 5s. So they're utter trash, basically. But what they are is dirt cheap characters. And this is what makes this detachment tick, because Sisters of Battle have an epic stratagem called Martyrdom, which, when a character dies, at the end of that phase, on a 2+, you can do an additional Act of Faith, which means now you can start doing Acts of Faith in your opponent's turn. And this is where this gets absolutely crazy. So your opponent can't help but try and kill these models, because they've only got a bloody 6-up save. So, you can run them at people in Overwatch. The real thing to do is try and convince your opponent to kill them in the shooting phase. Because you can, essentially what I do is I move Celestine, and you can advance her because it's the movement phase. So she sits in the middle of the board, you advance Celestine after your opponent's done all of the shooting. Now, what you do is you put her 3 inches away from one of your opponent's models. Maybe some Dark Reapers or something like that. So she's in the middle of the board, say she gets a 15, 16 inch advance, you've got to be within 3 inches. So say you're within 19 inches of some Dark Reapers. You jump in there, she's 3 inches away. Now, when your opponent's finished all their charges, then she just heroically intervenes, because she's 3 inches away in your opponent's charge phase. So even though she advanced, it's not a charge or heroic intervention, so she can just pile in and start murdering stuff. And on her own turn, Well, start of the turn, she piles in, she does her act of faith again, and she starts murdering more stuff. So, between your attack on your turn, on your opponent's turn, and your 2 attacks on your turn, Sally's going to put 18 attacks onto those Dark Reapers. 2 girls are going to put 2 attacks each, so they're going to do another 12 attacks. So over the course of a turn and a half, she's put 30 attacks into some Dark Reapers between her and the 2 girls, which is crazy. So the other great thing with these girls here, obviously, if one of these girls dies in the charge phase, like if you run them into something Celestine or the girls, they can jump out of combat, which is also lots of fun. Now, these girls, they really, really synergize well with the Custodes banner. So the Custodes can bring something called the Praetorian Plate. Now, granted, this combo is a little bit situational, and it's a little bit of a gotcha moment for people, but I think it's quite cool. So essentially, the Custodes banner and Terminator armor, it can teleport over towards a Imperium character when that Imperium character is in combat on your opponent's turn. So if you nominate Celestine, essentially the trouble was that no one would get into combat with Celestine because they knew the banner guy, he would teleport over, and then the next turn the banner's got a stratagem where a giant unit of bikes can come down within 3 inches of the banner, and then that's game over for your opponent, basically. So what you can do in your opponent's turn is convince them to kill one of these little girls here, rocket Celestine across the board, heroically intervene into something terrible, and now this guy is in your opponent's. This guy jumps over to where Celestine is, and then the next turn you drop down your giant unit of bikes. So really, really great synergy with Custodes here. It also adds a lot of speed onto the Custodes army, which I think really helps. They're also great for their other stratagem as well, which is also 1 command point, which is deny power on a 4-up, and it's 24-inch range from any of these girls. So again, adding some really key psychic defense into the Custodes. So that's what I think is a crazy little combination here. This is my most fun I've had with probably any little detachment in 40k. I run it all the time now because I think it's fantastic. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you are a fan of the Dialogus. I think they are the best unit and sisters. Awesome stuff. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. It should be in the next couple of days. I'm going to be covering more stuff about the charge phase. I've got some really cool ideas. Sorry, there's been a little bit of a break, but as I said, with the tournament last weekend, things have got a little bit hectic. All right, take care, guys.